Arcade Heroes.
Get ready!
Greetings, it's Adam with ArcadeHeroes.com, and I'm catching up on some news that I missed because I've been having a bunch of technical issues, and since I am my own technician pretty much, I've had to spend some time figuring that stuff out. But they'll start with the proper arcade news first, and then we'll get to the one that I'm sure a lot of you that are here for. But you should pay attention to this one too, just because this is cool as well, and this is a great game. As I played it already, I would recommend it. I don't have it yet. Not sure when I'll be making my next purchase for what's called the exA-Arcadia platform, but there's a lot of options there, and recently there was the release of Eartheon EXA label, which I really enjoyed, but I really enjoyed Jamjam'n Jelly as well. If money were no object, I'd be buying both and throwing them into my cabinets. But anyways, Jamjam'n Jelly EXA Lente is available for purchase for arcades. As of this time, it is exclusive to arcades. I'm not sure if the creators, which would be Kumro Games, if they plan on bringing this to consoles. If they want to keep it exclusive to arcades for a while, that's totally cool by me. Preferable. Of course, if it does have major differences between the console versions and the home edition, then that does soften the blow quite a bit. But as this lays out here on the exA-Arcadia website, you get 2 playable ships. Choose from the cute Jam Jam or the brash Peanut. 2 play modes, arcade mode and score attack mode, branching stages, a la Darius. Beautiful 2D graphics, which I can attest to, whether it's a 1080p screen or a 4K screen, looks fantastic and moves at a buttery smooth 60 frames a second. Fully voiced. From this tweet, there's a few of the voice actors and musicians that worked on this game. And this was posted on August 11th. What surprised me was, as I was doing research, is that Tim Kitzrow of NBA Jam, NFL Blitz, and various other arcade games fame has done some voice work on this. I don't know how extensive it is, but still, that's a big one to have on there just because of how well known he is, particularly with arcade games. But there are some other talented voice actors that have also contributed to this as well, and so don't want to leave them out there. But I admit I haven't done all the research as to what their full backgrounds are on it and everything, but you can find that tweet and do the research if you're interested. As this mentions exclusive, as they say, it doesn't roll off the tongue exactly, but that's okay. And from this trailer, again, I've played this a few times. I played the very early version of this. I want to say it was maybe Amusement Expo 2023 or 2024, where I played a very, very early version, and I could see differences in the later versions that I played. And I want to say IAPA 2024 is when I played the most recent version, but obviously there'd be some changes from the last time that I played it to the full release version. But as you can see, very vibrant, colorful graphics, moves along very well as it should on any modern platform. It's fun to play. I really have enjoyed what I played of it. If you're into bullet hell shoot 'em ups, then I don't see how you can go wrong here. I get it that some people that are really into bullet hell shooters prefer the vertical mode as opposed to playing horizontal, but personally I'm kind of the opposite, really. I find that I enjoy this style a little bit more than I do enjoy the vertical or tape mode style, but I guess it's a personal preference. Either way, this one is available now, and so if you do have an exA-Arcadia multi-game system, then you can purchase the kit and install it into your machines. I may be grabbing this at some point, but just right now I'm still waiting on a pinball machine and an air hockey table that I had ordered a little while ago, and still don't know when they're going to be here, but that is going to be my purchase for a little bit. I did recently also purchase P47 Aces Mark II. I haven't had it at this location where I'm at presently. I've had it in a break room, but I probably will be bringing that down before too long. I also did get Omen of Sorrow, A Rising Chaos, and so it's one of those things where I'll eventually probably get around to it, just because I think these games might do well with my clientele. As like I've had Vritra Hexa, which has done nicely, and so I can't remember off the top of my head what the numbers are. But again, I'm not aware of there being any console port yet or coming anytime soon. But speaking of console ports, if we head over here, we have a trailer that launched yesterday. This was a big surprise. I had no idea this was coming. But Fast and Furious Arcade is coming to all of your modern consoles, except for Switch 2. That's what was a little strange to me, is that it's coming to the Nintendo Switch, the Xbox Series, such dumb naming, and then the PS5. And so, yeah, if you've wanted to play the arcade version, the most recent one, at home, you can pretty soon. Didn't say at the end of the trailer when it's coming. I assume this footage is from the Xbox or the PlayStation version, just because it's way too smooth for Switch. As I did a comparison on the Cruise and Blast port to Switch, they had to make several compromises to make it work properly. But I guess we'll see how it ends up. Again, GameMill Entertainment are the ones that are responsible for this. You'll notice there's no Raw Thrills branding on this at all. I did reach out to them for comment, and they didn't have any because this is a GameMill Entertainment title. And they're the ones that have handled some of the other Raw Thrills ports, such as Cruise and Blast, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, of course, as I've mentioned in some other videos before, I have mixed feelings about this. What really surprises me is that it's a port of something that hasn't been on the market in the arcade scene for very long. I mean, the arcade version that you see here, the deluxe version of Fast and Furious Arcade, only came out in like October 2023, so it hasn't even been 2 years yet. Whereas when they did the Cruise and Blast port and they did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles port, it was separated by a bigger distance. And at least in the case of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it was out of production. Cruising still is in production, surprisingly enough. But yeah, now to be fair to Raw Thrills, something like a racing game doesn't see quite the drastic drop in earnings like a joystick game does. I've recounted the story about Super Street Fighter 4 and me getting screwed over by Capcom more times than I can count, so I won't do that again. But with Cruise and Blast, when that came out, now I don't know if this is correlated. It's not a scientific sort of thing as to did the Cruise and Blast port to Nintendo Switch harm my arcade version? I don't know for certain, but I would say that it used to be, for a time, Cruise and Blast would often be in my top 3. Oftentimes, within that, it was my number 1 game out of my entire arcade. After the port came out, it's never reclaimed the number 1 spot, and it's usually been down more in like the maybe 3 to 6 range. It bounces around a lot, but the game that's sitting next to me that's off camera here, Maximum Tune 5 DX Plus by Bandai Namco, which is still arcade exclusive, that's been my number 1 game for about 2 years now, and it's pretty consistently held that spot. Or when I look over the annual earnings of all my titles, Maximum Tune has been there at the top, whereas Cruisin' has slid back. Now, again, to be fair, every game with time starts to diminish. No game holds on to its earnings forever, unless it's maybe like Big Bass will. But it's still, for video games, after a while people get tired of it. Now, that really hasn't happened with Maximum Tune, which is one reason why I love the game as an operator, but also as a gamer, just because that has so much to come back to. Whereas Cruisin' only has 5 tracks, and yeah, that just gets a little stale after a while. And that would be one criticism I have. I don't know if it would be GameMill or Raw Thrills or who would handle it, but it would really be nice to me as an operator to have the opportunity to purchase DLC for these arcade versions, for like to add the extra content that was released for Cruisin' Blast or for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and put that in there, because I think that would reinvigorate the earnings a little bit. It wouldn't hurt, and that's something I'd be willing to pay for as long as it was reasonably priced. If it was, say, like $5,000 or something, then they can go pound sand on that one. But if it was something reasonable, under $1,000, a few $100s or something, I don't know what the economics would be of what they would need to turn a profit on that. I want them to turn a profit, but still, that would be nice for us operators. Now, of course, another thing, before I went off on one of my tangents, as I always do, is that joystick games see a much more drastic drop than, say, driving games or light gun games. And it still does hurt it to some degree, but at the very least with Fast and Furious, the coin-op version, I'll call it, even though I know most of them are card swipe these days, it has the 2 screens, 2 4K screens. It has the steering wheel. The deluxe version has the motion base. The standard version still has the 2 screens, just no motion on it. And of course, when you're playing at the arcade, it's just more fun than, say, sitting on your couch with all that. But the problem again is that not everybody cares on that, and so for a lot of people who would say have it at home, then they'll just play it at home and whatnot, and those differences don't make a big difference. Now, of course, I suppose one argument against that could be, well, if you're at the arcade anyways, if you have it at home, does that mean you won't play it at the arcade if you come across it? I don't know. That's something for some others to answer there. I'm not totally against arcade ports. I have several. Recently, I got Tiger Heli for the Atari 7800 Plus. But to be fair, that game's like 40 years old now. And so even if I had a Tiger Heli here, I'm sure it wouldn't make much of a difference. And you could also make the argument that having these console ports brings more attention to the game, and so that maybe it could give it a boost. But at least so far, I haven't seen that in practice. I would hope it would work out like that. Maybe one of these days it will. I don't know. But again, I'm surprised that this wasn't, say, like Fast and Furious Supercars, and that it's this instead. And we'll have to wait and see how much content they decide to put into the console version, and how much that'll change it. But if anybody from GameMill is listening, or I don't know if it's GameMill or if it'd be Raw Thrills, I'm pretty sure most operators that have one of these would really like the opportunity to add more content to their game. Is like Cruisin' Blast, one of the criticisms, as I mentioned, only has 5 tracks. Fast and Furious Arcade only has 6. I would be pretty certain that they'll be adding a lot more tracks to the console version, just like they did with Cruisin' Blast and just like they did with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, and the reason I keep gesturing towards there is because I can see the marquee for Ninja Turtles on the other side of the camera here. So I don't know. Like I said, mixed feelings on that one, but let me know in the comments below what you think about these games, and what you think. Will you be getting Fast and Furious Arcade on console? Which console will you get it on? Would this disincentivize you or incentivize you more to play the arcade version? I'd be curious to hear. And if you're an operator, does this incentivize you to buy one of these, or does it disincentivize you? I'd love to hear your thoughts on all that. But that's the news for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.